What if every time you voted, your vote didn't actually matter? What if democracy, the system we're taught to worship as humanity's crowning achievement, is actually tyranny with better marketing? The illusion began to crack in 2016. Millions of Americans, glued to election results, suddenly realized something frightening. Maybe ordinary citizens aren't capable of wielding political power responsibly. The dissonance was brutal. But here's the chilling truth. This crisis of faith isn't new. But first, like and subscribe if you enjoy our content so you get more of it. Let's jump in. Over 2,400 years ago, Plato watched his mentor Socrates executed by a democratic mob. His conclusion? Democracy doesn't free people from tyranny. It disguises tyranny as freedom. And modern psychology now backs him up. Plato suspected that humans can't be trusted with freedom because our minds are too easily manipulated. And decades of experiments prove him right. Take Solomon Asch's famous conformity test in the 1950s. 75% of participants denied their own senses just to agree with a group. If we can't even judge which line is longer, how do we expect millions of strangers to choose wise leaders? And it gets darker. In 2006, neuroscientists scanned the brains of partisan voters. When confronted with evidence that their candidate was lying, the rational part of the brain stayed silent. Instead, emotional circuits lit up, actually rewarding self-deception. The brain doesn't just ignore truth, it craves the lie because it feels safer. This is why democracy works so well. It doesn't need brute force. It feeds on your psychology. It convinces you that you're free, even while you're being led. Here's where democracy reveals its brilliance. Dictatorships create resistance through obvious oppression, censorship, secret police, violence. People know they're enslaved, and they fight back. Democracy, it allows you to resist in carefully controlled ways, by voting, protesting, or signing petitions. You feel like you're challenging the system, but you're actually reinforcing it. Political scientist Stephen Levitsky calls this competitive authoritarianism. You're given choices, but the choices never threaten the underlying structure. Plato put it simply, the worst punishment for refusing to rule is being ruled by someone worse. But in democracies, you don't even notice how inferior your rulers are, because you chose them. Like a casino, the house always wins. You keep gambling, convinced it's your decision. But the system is rigged to profit no matter what. Plato predicted the cycle. Democracy breeds too many choices. Too many choices overwhelm the brain. Overwhelm creates a hunger for simple answers. Simple answers empower demagogues. And demagogues lead straight to tyranny, disguised as the will of the people. Modern neuroscience calls this choice overload. When faced with endless complexity, your prefrontal cortex shuts down. Emotions take over. Suddenly, confidence feels more trustworthy than competence. That's how Hugo Chavez rose in Venezuela. He didn't storm power with tanks. He was elected with 56% of the vote. People weren't choosing tyranny. They were choosing psychological relief. By the time they realized the trap, it was too late. This same pattern repeats across the globe today. Citizens, exhausted by complexity, willingly hand power to strong men who promise to think for them. Democracy doesn't collapse, it surrenders itself. Here's democracy's fatal flaw. It rewards those who win elections, not those who govern well. The traits that win elections, charisma, simplicity, emotional resonance, are the exact opposite of what effective governance requires. Humility, complexity, analytical thought. Plato illustrated this with his ship of fools. Imagine a boat where passengers vote on navigation. The trained navigator speaks cautiously about currents and stars. The loud passenger promises smooth seas with confidence. Who wins the vote? And where does the ship end up? History gives us the answer. The 2008 financial crash wasn't caused by economists who warned about bubbles. It was caused by confident liars who said prices would rise forever. Democracy amplifies confidence even when it's deadly wrong. Plato's cave allegory warned us, most people never see truth, only shadows on the wall. Today, those shadows are algorithmically personalized. Your feed, your news, your content. Each shadow crafted to exploit your psychology. Today, data from the various social media outlets allow campaigns to target you based on your fears and insecurities. Anxious people get fear-based ads. Narcissists get messages about being special. Depressed people get doom and gloom narratives. This isn't propaganda for the masses. It's customized psychological warfare for you personally. And here's the twist. You feel more informed than ever, but you're just more manipulated than ever. Every political system relies on myths. Plato called it the noble lie, stories to hold society together. Democracy is no different. Its myths tell us every opinion is equal. Majority rule is wise. Leaders represent the people. Voting equals freedom. But these are comforting illusions, not truths. Real power hides behind unelected bureaucrats, supranational institutions, and corporate interests insulated from voters. Elections become theater, emotionally exhausting, but strategically meaningless. And when the system fails, you blame yourself for voting wrong, not the system for being rigged. That's democracy's most brilliant trick. Plato's solution, philosopher kings, seems unrealistic, even dangerous. Who decides who's wise? Who guards them from corruption? Even Plato admitted his idea was more thought experiment than blueprint. Yet modern defenders of democracy, like Joseph Schumpeter, argue it has one undeniable strength. It allows peaceful transitions of power and prevents permanent tyranny. In other words, democracy may be flawed, but it beats civil war. Still, Plato's warning stands. Democracy, by its very design, appeals to our worst psychological weaknesses, our craving for certainty, our fear of complexity, our addiction to the illusion of choice. Unless we understand that, history shows the cycle will repeat. So, what do we do with this uncomfortable knowledge? We don't abandon democracy, we approach it consciously. Plato's cave reminds us, escaping the shadows is painful. Most people prefer comfort over truth, but once you see the chains, you can't unsee them. You can still vote, debate, engage, but do it with your eyes open. Understand how the system manipulates you. Resist the urge to surrender to easy answers, because democracy isn't freedom. It's a polite dictatorship dressed as choice. And the most dangerous tyranny is the one that feels like liberty. The cave is comfortable, the light is harsh, but stepping toward it is the only way to be free. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It helps this channel reach more people willing to question the shadows on the wall. Thanks for listening.